All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are tackling a question that is, frankly, huge. We're going to be digging into the different scenarios for what could happen if AI actually took control of the world. So let's just start with the question itself. What if AI controlled the world? I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. It sounds like something straight out of a movie, doesn't it? A story we've all seen 100 times. But here's the thing. This isn't just science fiction anymore. You could argue it's one of the most important thought experiments of our time. For one very simple reason, the kind of AI we're talking about, well, it's being built right now, piece by piece. Now, to even begin to get our heads around an idea this massive, we have to break it down. Before we can even try to answer the question, we need to get on the same page about what we're really asking. So let's start by defining some key terms. First up, artificial intelligence. So the textbook definition is a system that can learn, reason, and act on its own. But what kind of AI are we picturing here? Is it just a really, really smart version of the assistant on your phone? Or are we talking about a true superintelligence, a mind so far beyond our own that we literally can't comprehend its thoughts? Because you see, where you land on that spectrum changes everything. Okay, next term, control. What do we mean by that? The definition says it's the power to influence or direct things. But, control can look really different depending on the situation. Is it this obvious, in-your-face power, like some kind of global AI dictator calling all the shots? Or is it something way more subtle? An AI that quietly shapes the news you see, the things you buy, maybe even the opinions you have, all without you ever really knowing it's happening. And finally, what about the world? I mean, that's a big word. It's not just the planet. It's this incredibly complex web of all our human systems. So when we say control the world, are we talking about political power? Managing the entire global economy? Reshaping how we talk to each other? Or maybe it's about controlling what's become the most valuable resource there is, information itself. All right, so now that we've kind of unpacked those words, we can start to build a framework for thinking about all this. Let's try to map out the different ways this could go. Now, I have to be really clear here, this is not a crystal ball. It's just a tool, a way to organize the chaos of possibilities. You can think about it along two main lines. First, what's the AI's goal? Is it benevolent, trying to do good for us, or is it malevolent? And second, how did it happen? Was the outcome intentional, something we built on purpose, or was it purely accidental? So, for example, you could have a utopia that was programmed on purpose. Or, on the flip side, a totally oppressive system that was also built on purpose. But then you get the accidental outcomes. Maybe something unexpectedly good happens. Or, and this is the one that keeps a lot of experts up at night, you could have an unaligned AI that causes catastrophic harm completely by accident. See, this map doesn't tell us where we're going to end up, but it really helps us understand the territory. But here's the catch. Even with a map, we're still navigating in almost total darkness. And that's because there are these fundamental, absolutely massive unknowns. These are the core challenges that are so tough to solve. First and foremost, you've got the alignment problem. Think about it. How can we possibly program an AI to follow human values when we humans can't even agree on what those are? We all value both safety and freedom, right? But what happens when a self-driving car has to choose between them in a split-second accident? Whose values does it use? It's a huge question. Then you've got the control problem, which, honestly, is a total paradox. Just imagine trying to build a cage for an animal that's 1,000,000 times smarter than you are. How could you ever be sure you could pull the plug if it can think 1,000 steps ahead of you and anticipate every single move you're going to make? It's a mind-bending problem. And all of this leads to maybe the deepest mystery of all, consciousness. We don't even really know what it is. So could a machine ever actually be conscious? Could it have its own inner life, its own feelings, its own motivations? Because the answer to that question, well, it changes the entire conversation. So let's just recap those big hurdles again. You've got the alignment problem, the control paradox, and this massive mystery of consciousness. And these aren't just little technical glitches to be patched. They're some of the most profound philosophical challenges we've ever faced. So you might be thinking, okay, this is all very interesting, but it's pretty abstract. So why does any of this actually matter right now, today? Well, because we are rapidly moving from thought experiments to real-world action. And here's the bottom line. The stories we tell ourselves about this, the scenarios we imagine, whether they're utopias or dystopias, they directly influence the safety rules, the ethical guidelines, and the ultimate goals that we are programming into the AI systems being built as we speak. There's that famous quote, "The best way to predict the future is to invent it." And that is exactly where we are with AI. We're not just waiting to see what happens. We are actively inventing that future every single day. Which really brings me to the final thought I want to leave you with. This isn't just a question for a few scientists in the lab anymore. In a world that's this connected, we're all, in our own way, architects of this future. The question isn't if AI is going to change the world. The question is how. So, what will we choose to build?